Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery. It's a beautiful Friday morning. Today is August 15th, 2025. We get together most weekday mornings, talk about strategies, tips, share techniques, and success stories. It's our pleasure to be with you this morning. My screen should be shared with you if all is going well. Yesterday, our backdrop screen was Bank of America. We talked a little bit about how Bank of America is promoting asset-based loans, ABL. So today we turn to another large bank, JP Morgan, otherwise known as Chase Bank. What will you notice on their website? They are looking to loan money as well for asset-based loans. We've had several prior trainings on ABL, asset-based lending. If you've missed those, you can go to our YouTube channel, and there's one of which it's also on our website, 509 Pacific. JP Morgan Chase, like Bank of America, does not like to do small deals. So both of them have a floor of 5 million. So we do have other lenders that'll go down to 1 million. And if you remember, for us, we'll go down to 1 million on the ABL. But I think this is worth a quick snapshot. So here we have a live website, nothing manufactured, not a marketing piece from us, but jpmorgan.com, Chase Bank. On their website, they are looking to loan money through ABL. They're aggressively looking to loan money. And in fact, they have 21 offices that's focused on this in US, Canada, and United Kingdom. And what's the range? Who can tell me what this range is that they'll do for ABL? If you could type it into the Q&A, I'd like to get a little audience participation. So 5 million is their floor. How big of an ABL will they go? That's right, Chris Vale. $1 billion. So I think this is so new to so many of you. Asset-based lending is mainstream. It's frequently leveraged by medium and large businesses. Small businesses, not so much. And what you and I typically work with are smaller business owners. Typically, small businesses haven't been oriented, they haven't been educated, they haven't accessed ABL because often they didn't have enough assets to qualify. But the awesome thing about what you and I do is we can provide them the assets. So again, I know that JP Morgan and Bank of America both have a floor of 5 million. Not all lenders do, but my point of sharing the screen with you as we start today is not to promote JP Morgan as an individual source of capital for ABL, but I just want to continuously build your familiarity and frankly, your confidence that this is mainstream. It may not be popular on Main Street because the average small business can't qualify for this without your and my help. But guess what? With your and my help, we can access it. All right, so let's pull back up our notes. We are 509 South Pacific. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We have these Zooms most weekday mornings. Our website is 509pacific.org. Additional information there. And if you need assistance, best bet is to text us at 903-347-8042. Our nonprofit applied for and received a grant. There are 3 mandates, in other words, 3 things we're supposed to be doing that we're accountable for doing, and we have to report that we do, one of which is increasing financial literacy. Today is a continuation of that as we'll get through some additional training here in a moment. We give away free shelf corps, and if that doesn't make sense to you, it's really important that you consider going to our website to learn more about number 2. Number 1 kind of makes sense. A lot of people don't know what you and I know. You look at the people on here, and we ended up with 635, but you look at what Amanda knows, or Drake, or Donald. I don't know which names to pull. There's so many of you. John Stockton. You all know there's a formula for funding. It's not too good to be true. It's not pie in the sky. But what we need to do is have a fundable business if we want business funding. Most of these people want money. They need money, but they don't have a fundable business. Well, the first step in that is let's go give them a free shelf corp so we have a foundation to build off of. It's huge. And then once we've educated and provided that shelf corp, now our third mandate is let's get money into the pockets. Bank account technically, but pocket sounds more glamorous. Let's get money into the bank accounts of small businesses across the country so they can start, grow, prosper, create jobs, improve the tax base, and you can make a shitload of money by helping people. That's what entrepreneurs do, right? We solve problems. We offer a good or a service to solve someone else's problem. And the bigger the problem we solve, the more money we make. And again, I know we've got so many big hitters that I'm never going to impress you. Take Joseph Certain, when I tell him that he can make 50,000 for referring each person in for an ABL loan, he doesn't care, right? 50,000 doesn't alter his monthly budget. Same with Willie and a number of you. I know that I can't become important to you with such a small transactional comp. But the bottom line is, let's go help people, and an extra 50,000 a referral, it's better than a stick in the eye, right? All right, so what's today's agenda? We've kind of accomplished number one, kind of cheated that a little bit, but the bottom line is go to 509pacific.org and there's more resources to help you about the grant. Our primary topic today is to step back, because I think there's some confusion, and even Selena mentioned it in the notes this morning. We need to make sure that you, but also we need to make sure that clients understand the difference between first tranche financing, FTF. Let me add that on here. FTF. And it could be first tranche financing, first tranche funding, but that's the initial round, which we'll describe and give you an example from just this morning. That's different than the end goal. And I know. Everybody would say, well, let's skip this first tranche. Just get me over to JP Morgan Chase and get me my 5 million and everything will be just fucking fine, right? Let's just go get the 5 million. Well, that's too good to be true. We have to qualify for it. Anyone that thinks that you can get funding without qualifying for it, it's wrong. They're wrong, or they're delusional, or they're looking for a scam. That's not what you and I do. You and I operate as technical advisors. We help people become legally and ethically qualified. That's why our program works. That's why we're growing so quickly. And that's why so many of you are just knocking it out of the park. All right, so with that being said, and then we'll have Q&A. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and type it into the Q&A. We'll address it. Normally on Fridays, we try to wrap up a little bit quicker. So let's get moving. So we need to start with understanding FTF. So once the client has purchased a shelf corp from you, now technically we give them away. There is a processing fee. You determine how much that is. Anything above 500 is your profit. But once they've done that, we need about 7 days to deliver the shelf corp to them. And then at that point, we will go immediately into the funding phase, commonly called phase 2. So first tranche funding or financing. We don't want to confuse yourselves or your clients with this. First tranche does not mean the end goal. We're not ready for the end goal yet. The clients just come into the system. We have just provided them the shelf corp. So the analogy we've been using is, if we're in the real estate construction business, first we need a piece of land before we build a house, whether it be a little house, a big house, 1-story, multi-story, pool, no pool. We have to have land first to build that house. This is the land to build the funding off of. Now, with the first tranche, we're going to get them an initial round of working capital. The nice thing about the first tranche financing, while it will be smaller than the end goal, because we're not qualified yet for the larger amount, we're just now starting the process with the client, it typically is unrestricted. So if they want to use it to pay down credit cards, they can. If they want to give some secret money under the table to their baby mama, they can. It's unrestricted. So that is a nice aspect. Kenneth is asking about the industry code. All of our shelf corps are set up as management consulting using that industry code. So that's the way the shelf corps come. No matter what they want to do with it, that's how the shelf corp comes. Why do we do that? Because it's the easiest to get funding. good question, Kenneth. Back on track here then. So Corliss is a new client, just came in this morning. I think came from Mr. Vale. Is that right? Mr. Vale, you're on. Mr. Vale was Corliss's your client? I think so. So Corliss came into our world yesterday afternoon. So a new client we literally just processed this morning. So I didn't really cherry pick Corliss, but he was the most recent one. Chris says yes. Chris confirms Corliss is from him. So let's look at, and Chris is Corliss. So it's a she, beautiful name. So Corliss is a she. So she came into our world yesterday. We ran her first tranche financing app just this morning. And here are the real results, not manufactured, not doctored, not made up. And if you don't agree, if you think I'm blowing smoke, then talk to Chris, but it's true. So she is fairly typical. She's strong, but this is commonly what we see with first tranche. People get multiple different offers. No hard inquiries to get the offers. They can decide what they want. So Corliss, a real person, a real referral from one of you, Chris, who's online, received offers from 12 different lenders. I think it's accurate to say each of those lenders offered multiple offers. So Corliss or any client can only take one offer from each lender, but they can take a loan from every lender. So at this point, Corliss is in a great position this morning. She could accept 12 different offers. Now, I know you might say, well, why 12? Why don't we just do one big one? We're not ready yet. We don't have all the paperwork. We don't have the loan package built yet. The client just came into the system. So first tranche financing typically will not generate any individual offers above 50,000, 50,000. Could, but usually not. So Corliss, brought in by Chris, who's a real person on the Zoom, cash offers from 12 different lenders. The cumulative that's available to Corliss as of now, real offers, real cash offers over $250,000. And you might say, oh, that's fucking miserable, right? What is she gonna do with 250,000? That's not enough to buy a new Lamborghini. That's fine. It's just the first tranche. It's just the first tranche. That's why I'm trying to delineate the difference between first tranche and where we're going. There's additional paperwork. The loan package has to be built for this. This is the starting point. All right, and with that, just highlighted a few of the different offers that Corliss received. Now, I believe this is correct. We kind of threw this together quickly before the Zoom. The single largest offer she had was she has, current tense, 31,000. She has another for 23, a bunch of them for 20. So again, your clients, when they come in, they will get, once they get the shelf corp, then they'll fill out the app. We'll get them offers with no hard inquiries. What they qualify for initially is based upon their baseline credibility. It's what we call the first tranche. So we are impacting the large capital raise. The baseline, the first tranche, is much more based upon their credibility factors. So now it's really up to Corliss. Madison, our funding coordinator, will reach out. Of course, Chris is the referral partner, and it's just really up to what Corliss wants to do. She could accept and put in her pocket over the next week 6 digits of funding or less. So before I get into the large business funding, which is the second of the two, what questions do any of you have on the first tranche? First tranche. And Selena brings up a great point. If we don't educate the client well, what can happen is they get their shelf corp. We deliver that in about 7 days. All's good. We send them the funding app. That's great. They fill it out and they get offers and they're somehow disappointed. So if Corliss wasn't properly educated, she might say, well, this is a scam. I'm only getting 250,000. I need 5 million. I need 1 billion. It's a process, right? We don't have the shelf corp. We don't have the loan package. We don't have everything built out yet. So this is first and this is subsequent. And Selena, you're exactly right. If we don't educate people and all they think, oh, this is all I'm going to ever get, that's not enough. 250,000 is not going to do the deal. Well, that's just the starting point. Now, different people will get different offers. They could get more than Corliss or less, but it's just important you understand the process. Joseph says his first tranche was 3,000, and that's right. Yeah, so different people will get different amounts based upon their credibility, but it's not a reflection of you or me or the program. It's a reflection of them, because we're just taking their file and getting them what they qualify now, so then we can move forward to the larger amount, which I'm going to talk about next. But yeah, never, never, ever let a client's poor financial situation be reflected as a failure of you, me, or the program. It's based on them, because we've got over 40 different lenders that's competing to loan. And in this case, 12 of them wanted to loan money to Corliss. We have some people that come back and none of the lenders want to touch the damn client because they're too high a risk. Is that a failure of you, me, the program? Hell no, it's not. It's a reflection of the client's circumstances. Does that prevent them from being successful from where we're going? Not at all. But the first tranche is on them. It's on them. But everyone gets at least one offer. Everyone will get at least one offer, no matter how shitty their situation is. Okay, so let's move on to large business funding. Oh, well, we have one other question. Antonio asked, do they have to accept the first tranche? No, the way the agreement states, the access to capital agreement says, there is a $2,500 refundable deposit for us to build the loan package to be able to qualify. And that's where, if they'll follow that, we guarantee the outcome. We guarantee large funding. The loan package is essential. It's a refundable deposit. It does not need to be paid out of pocket. What we promise, and this is in writing in the agreement, is we'll get you financing for it. So Corliss, let's say Corliss just wants to take the 31,000. Great, 31,000 is going to be in her account, I suspect, by Monday. We're recording this on a Friday, by the way. So by Monday or Tuesday, she'll have 31,000, I would expect, in her bank account. Then she can pay the refundable deposit. We can go build the loan package and move forward on the large business funding, which is where I'm trying to get to. But everyone will get at least one offer. Back to Antonio's question, if they don't want to accept any of the offers, they don't have to. Now, they're still responsible for the refundable deposit to cover the loan package, because we need that to get to the end. They've promised that. We've promised to do the capital raise. They've promised to pay the refundable deposit. We've promised to provide them financing for it. So the way the agreement states, if they don't want to accept the financing, they don't have to, but they are still responsible for the refundable deposit. I was talking to a client yesterday and they said, oh, we're charging up front to get loans. No. If the client already qualifies, they don't need our help. They don't need our loan package. They should go over to JP Morgan's site, click this button, fill this out, and just go get their funding. But you and I know most of these people aren't qualified yet. That's what we do. We build the loan package. We help them become qualified. We guarantee that they become qualified. So you don't want to be a novice, a simpleton, and think, oh, the refundable deposit is prepaying for a loan. It's not. It's not. It's building the loan package, the documentation. If they don't want it, they don't need it. Tell them, don't sign up with us. Just go to JP Morgan, fill out the form. And as JP Morgan says, they've got one consistent point of contact. The contacts are on here. You can scroll down and they can work with Mark or Randy or Dan or Jim or Andrew, Matthew, Steve, or Kelly, and just skip us. But most of these folks aren't qualified without your and my help. Okay, back to the agenda because we digress. Great questions, though. Okay, so first tranche, I hope you understand it now. We've covered it enough. Large business funding, that's the end goal. That's where we're going. So once we have the loan package developed, then we can go after the big dollars. So the most common example that we're seeing right now, as we've talked about, are the asset-based loans. Those are great. We've had several trainings. If you're not familiar with it, you can go to 509 Pacific and see some training on it. But ABL is most likely where probably 9 out of 10 of your clients will want to go. Can be a term loan or a line of credit. Floor is 1 million. I'll just stretch this out so we can see it. The floor is 1 million. Now I know I showed you here that JP Morgan's floor is 5 million, which is accurate. So was Bank of America's yesterday, but not all lenders have a 5 million floor. So we just don't go below $1 million. And again, you might say, well, if it's asset-based loans and the client doesn't have $1 million of assets, it won't work for them. Well, you're skipping the logic here. We're going to provide them the assets so they do qualify. That's why we're having this conversation. So anyone can apply because we provide the collateral. Not unlike first tranche, it is unrestricted funds. And so this is great for if you have a client that wants to acquire other businesses or buy real estate, they just want a big bucket of money that they can pull from. This is the way to go. Because if we went and did real estate financing, we would have to have each property appraised. If we're going to do individual underwriting on business acquisitions, now we have to get all the documentation from the seller, the person selling the business. The ABL is the most streamlined approach you can have. Thus, it's faster funding, easier underwriting because it's based on the assets, not everything else. And you make the same. And again, I know. Some of you turn your nose up at me because, let's take, let's pick someone. We'll go back to John again. When all we can offer John is $50,000 per referral, it's just not a big deal to John. It's not a big deal to a lot of you. But with this proposition, we should be able to at least help a person a week. So if we just set a goal, let's help one client a week get ABL. So that's 4 a month. 4 times 50,000 is 200,000 a month. Of course, that's 2.4 million a year. I know we've got a lot of big hitters like you, Joseph, like you, Lamy, but can you really tell me that an extra 2 million a year wouldn't help your wealth, wouldn't help your cash flow, wouldn't help your future? Is 2 million just not enough? Because if we can't go out and help at least one client a week, I'd recommend going and do something else. The value proposition is too strong. All right, so since we like to wrap up early on Fridays, let's restate what we've covered. 509 South Pacific, our daily Zoom, our website, more information and to participate. Support line's a great way to get quicker response via text, 903-347-8042. This is not a phone number that's answered live. It's a text support line. If you need our phone number, it's actually on the website. We've attempted to state what our 3 mandates are. We've referred you back to the website. We've hopefully clarified the difference in the timing and the functionality of first tranche financing versus the larger amount. And so just like Drake's asking, yeah, different people will get different amounts of first tranche financing, but that is not a reflection of you or me or the program. It's a reflection of them. It's a reflection of them. But the beautiful thing is everyone will get at least one offer. Everyone will get enough to be able to move forward to the large business funding. Then we build the loan package out, identify the right type of funding. Maybe it's SBA, maybe it's non-SBA, maybe it's a line of credit, maybe it's a term loan. But I'll tell you, in most cases, what we're seeing is most people like the ABL, and then we go implement. All right, with that being said, we will be back, of course, Monday morning, 8 o'clock Central. If there's anything you need, give us, send us a text, please. Have a great weekend. Have a productive day, and we'll see you early next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye.